As the country grapples with the COVID pandemic, another public health crisis, it's getting worse. Homicides involving firearms rose 33% from 1999 to 2019, and unofficial data shows 2020 likely had the highest rate of gun deaths in the past 2 decades, and that was during the pandemic when we're on lockdown. Research shows that community intervention programs can reduce gun violence by up to 60%. The Biden administration has earmarked $5 billion from the American Jobs Plan for those programs. The president made that announcement back in April in front of violence prevention leaders like Erica Ford. Our Dr. Taranarula shows us how Ford's nonprofit in New York is trying to make a difference. Tara, good morning.
Good morning, Gail. Instead of debating gun control and the Second Amendment, Erica Ford's nonprofit called Life Camp focuses on fixing the root causes of gun violence by offering community support and positive alternatives. Through sunny playgrounds and shadowy corners of South Jamaica, Queens, this bright orange Peacemobile helps keep the peace by offering a safe space for the community to connect. With words or without.
Life Camp believes that a healthy mind and a healthy body, healthy spirit, can lead to a peaceful life.
For more than 30 years, Erica Ford and her nonprofit Life Camp program have intervened in moments of conflict and promoted peaceful alternatives to picking up a gun.
There's tools and things that we can use to just cool off when things get pressured. We have to get the right medicine to a person. So if it's a job, if it's yoga, if it's meditation, if it's therapy, there's various different prescriptions.
45 people were shot in this neighborhood last year, the most since 2012. Growing up here, Ford saw the need for a response that took aim at the roots of gun violence.
Trauma is in the beginning, the middle, and the end of violence. And so no one wants to pick up a weapon and bring harm to somebody. It is something happening inside of a person that triggers them to make the wrong decision.
Why do you think it's important for people in the neighborhood to be part of solving this problem?
Those who are closest to the problem are closest to the solution.
So you go wherever the need is?
Wherever the need is.
So when you drive in and interrupt an incident and park your Peacemobile in between, what's the reaction that you get?
First of all, it's shock. And then they'll tell us, oh, we don't want to hear that peace stuff. We're not hearing that peace stuff. And I got you, but we can't afford no more gunshots.
Carl Fuller is both the driver and driving force behind Life Camp's Vessel of Hope.
Now, all we're asking you to do is not shoot. But that one moment that you get somebody not to shoot, it's a success. This spot we're standing at right now is the very spot my son was killed.
Fuller's son, Carl Jr., was shot and killed in 2007, just after graduating high school.
My wife died 8 months later of a broken heart.
Fuller turned his grief into activism to save other families from gun violence and its ripple effects.
A lot of fathers are not willing to share their pain because in this community, a man is not allowed to cry. You know, only thing that's tolerated from me in this community is anger.
There was a man coming around the corner with a gun, and before I could do anything, he had shot my son.
7 years ago, right before her eyes, a stranger shot Carolyn Dixon's son, Darrell Lynch, in a dispute over a parking spot.
Did you fall asleep?
Life Camp's therapists helped Dixon process her grief.
Why is it so important to take that holistic approach?
Because you can't fix one part of the body without fixing all. Everything comes together as a whole.
At their Dream Cafe, Jaquil Johnston and Jayton McMillan use Ford's lessons to help neighbors heal from the inside out.
So we had our fair share of violence. We had our fair share of bad eating. Ultimately, it's been a tradition, you know.
When they were teens, Life Camp introduced the lifelong friends to a healthier and safer lifestyle. Now they're paying it forward.
I lost my dad, and not only my dad, I lost plenty of friends as well, like to gun violence, you know.
You have to create solutions instead of complaining and waiting for somebody to change the community that we're from.
They were able to change the narrative of what was cool in their community. So people went from the chicken greasy spot to now eating healthy and doing yoga in the park. as opposed to, shooting each other or selling drugs. The people in our community have a right to live free from suffering. They have a right to live free from violence.
Ford is looking to replicate her program across the country and create what she calls an industry of peace. She hopes her work can inspire other programs to build holistic approaches to ending the cycle of violence. Ford told me that she chose the color orange for her work because it is bright, and told us when you see so much blood running through the streets, you want something to give light to people.
Yeah, and you're representing the orange today. Thank you, Erica Ford and Mr. Fuller in a Dream Cafe. But you think it's important that we see gun violence as a public health issue, right?
Absolutely, Gail. And there are so many people leading this crusade to get us to depoliticize this issue, the same way that we tackled car crashes and car safety, for example, with science and funding and all the people who need to be at the table talking about this and working on it.
Great piece.
reporting, really great reporting.
And I want your dress.
We'll be right back.